So what we found was that 56 of respondents to our survey, they said that there was an expectation from their employer that they would be responding to emails, messages outside of work hours. And of that group, we did see that 70% of those respondents said that expectation was implied and not explicitly written anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it really brings up for employers the need to have that clarity around what is expected and communicate that effectively.
Would you agree that, I mean, it's a real grey area in so many ways?
It absolutely is, and I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? We get that beautiful flexibility, that accessibility, you can do things on the run, but at the same time, there's that addictive temptation to want to check things outside of your work hours or worse, to feel that you have to when it's not your working hours. What we also found was that 25% of respondents were actually spending more than 5 hours a week outside of their work hours responding to messages, texts, emails from work.
I mean, the thing I find rather interesting, I mean, I've been around for a fair while these days, you could mount a pretty good argument as the employer. Well, yeah, you know, it'd be great if you'd check the emails. But that's after my work hours. Yes, but when we've got the clock running, is every minute spent working for the company, or do you check a few Facebookies? Do you do a few things here and there, which is kind of goofing off? You know, it's trying to get that balance right.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's probably a whole can of worms right there.
Oh, it is, though. That's the problem, yeah.
It is, and what we're seeing in response to these growing concerns is a raft of proposed changes for the right to disconnect. So we've seen this in France, where employers need to have very clear policies and stated expectations for employees as to how they can disconnect after work. And it looks like, from everything we're seeing, that Australia is next.
I would imagine, in the job that you guys are in, you'll be leading the charge. You're going to have to really keep it black and white. You're a recruiting agency.
Absolutely. We speak to a lot of clients every day. We've just released our latest market trends report and salary guide, and this is based on a lot of these responses from our clients and candidates. And I think what we're seeing is growing concern in this area, and people are burnt out too. So our clients are asking us, how can we make this better for our team, but also, get the job done at the same time? And I think it comes down to those clear guidelines, promoting a culture that actually values downtime, and I think also leading by example with senior leaders. We've all been in that situation where we've had a senior manager that's emailing us on a Sunday at 7 p.m, and it might be convenient for them, but it does set the cultural expectation that you would do the same. So I think as leaders we can lead by example and use the scheduling function a little bit better.
And I would imagine it's from day one. It's when you start employment, you need to have these parameters set down in black and white.
I think so. I think when culture creeps in and new employees have a look at the behaviour of colleagues around them, they are more likely to follow what the implied expectation is rather than the explicit expectation on paper. Most people's contracts would say certain hours if they're permanent full-time or permanent part-time, would say explicit hours. But what they're really looking at is, what are the leaders doing here? Are they still sitting here at 6 p.m?
Yeah.
Are they sending me emails at 9 p.m? It's really the leaders that set that tone around culture, and it's also the communication as well around what values placed on people's personal lives and their downtime.
So, Erin, I have to ask the question, what do you do with a workaholic then? I mean, seriously, we're actually heading down a path where someone could get flicked for working too hard.
That's right. It's tricky. It's really tricky, isn't it? Because you want to encourage that strong work ethic and, dedication and commitment to the cause and commitment to the role. But at the same time, there's all this beautiful technology that can actually help people that are in that position. If something is so urgent that it can't be scheduled for 8 a.m. the next day, that might be an exception to the rule. But I think most things we can just put the schedule function on if it's an email or a Teams message or whatever avenues you use, most of them have the technology to delay send. And if it's so urgent it's got to be dealt with then and there, then that's going to be the exception, not the rule.